Today, I got a really cool guest for you guys. This is Derek Lamb, and Derek is actually a Sync Academy member who recently shared with us some really awesome and encouraging news that he has secured 100 placements within the first year of being in the sync licensing business. And so he showed us a screenshot of his TuneSat account, and he's getting tons of NBA placements all over the place. So I'm really just stoked for you, Derek. I think that's really awesome, man. I just love when, my students just have these success stories, and especially when they come very quickly, because I know it doesn't really happen that quickly for a lot of people. But I definitely reached out to Derek because I said, hey, man, I want you to share your story, because I know that there's a lot of producers that are, getting started, and they might be in their first or second year in this industry, and maybe they're not quite at that 100 placement level yet. And so I just want to kind of pick your brain, find out where you are, how you got to where you are, and what your strategy basically has been to get you to where you are now. So why don't we start and tell us a little bit about the kind of music you make, a little bit of your backstory in terms of how you got into sync licensing.
All right. Well, I been producing since about like end of 2010, 2011. That was my junior and senior year of high school. But I say I took a break like a year after that and kind of learned the keys, use YouTube, stuff like that. And kind of came back to producing. And it didn't take long for me to realize like, okay, I wanted to make money in this business. I just like sell beats to artists, which was my big thing, at the time, trying to get artists, get big, placements with big artists, stuff like that. And but I had always noticed just music being used on ads and video games, just all this stuff that I always noticed. And once I started to find out about like how much you could get paid, like upfront syncs and things like that, and also, of course, like you always heard about royalties, and you're like, okay, of course, as an artist, you can make royalties, but what else? What else can I do to do that? And yeah, learning about sync actually helped that a lot. And that became a goal of mine. But it took me some years to even figure out that I had to connect with a music library. That would be a great, with the companies. And fortunately, I did run into when you were music makes cash actually, and I ran into you and of course taught the crash course, and it didn't take me long to get convinced that was the right path, and so what got me into Sync Academy, and I spent time doing the what is it, the syndicate, and also Sync Edge, and that's actually the library that I connected with. I work with two libraries right now, and one of them that I connected with was through Sync Edge. Man, it's been amazing, like the work that they've done and how fast they've done it. Uh, and it just kept me motivated. And it got me to the point where I remember making like, it took me 2 weeks to do like, probably like 20 to 30 tracks that first month. So I think that was really a good push that kind of got me to where I needed to be as far as now.
Wow, man, that's a lot of music at once. That is not an easy thing to do, man. So good for you that you're able to keep up with that pace. And that's so cool that you're working and you're just getting stuff done, and you're actually continuously submitting your music to these libraries. Now, did you say you were working with one or two libraries at this point?
I'm working with now two libraries, but it's funny because all the placements that I have so far are only with one library so far. So that's a pretty cool thing. And I do have things with the second library that have surfaced and got added to different catalogs with the bigger publisher and stuff like that. So those things are being pitched currently. So I can expect placements from those. But yeah, so far it's been with one of the libraries. I do a lot of hip hop. Like I pretty much produce all genres. Like I love all genres of music, but as far as licensing, I mean, I've done with one of the libraries I work with. They like when I send hip hop and I guess more pop type stuff. So those two things I kind of go in between, and here and there I'll send like scores or stuff that I might be interested in sending, because they'll say like, if you have other ideas that you think may be suitable, send us, maybe 5 tracks to preview, and we'll let you know if we like to accept those. So I just do that.
Awesome, man. But it definitely sounds like you've got yourself a nice little niche sort of created, right? Like they know that you are great for the genre that you bring to the table. And so whenever they have those opportunities, and it sounds like they have a lot, obviously, you got this NBA stuff going all over the place, which is really cool. And so you've really carved out that niche, and now you have sort of a foothold, right? You have a position within their company. So they know why they're reaching out to you for this particular types of music that you are really strong at. And that's why I definitely want to again remind everybody watching that this is why I've always recommended to really stay in your lane, really find out what it is that you do really well, and then when you go work with a library, let them know this is sort of my primary focus, this is what I can really do well. And of course, if you want to branch out later on, as Derek is going to be seeing and he's already seeing now, you will be given those opportunities to kind of branch out of what your sort of comfort zone is or what your specialty is. But in the beginning, to just get your foot in the door and to become like somebody in this business that's really got a specialty, it's really important, I think, to just focus on that particular sound that really can, become, because then it becomes automatic for people. And one of the other reasons why I haven't articulated it clearly enough is that when you come to a library and you say, I do 6 different genres, well, when they get an opportunity in one of those genres, do you necessarily pop out as the go-to person for those genres? Well, not really, because you dabble in so many different ones. But what if they have one guy that's really the orchestral producer and he always produces on time, high quality stuff? He's probably the first one that's going to pop up in their mind, and not somebody who's like, well, I do a little bit of everything, right? So that's why it's really important to kind of like, you got to focus on where you really want to be. And Derek, obviously you've got your focus, and it's just a perfect match. It's so cool to see when, the music that you love to make works great for the library, and then it obviously shows up on NBA and on the NBA, and you actually see that show up on your TuneSet account, man. So it's just a beautiful thing when that all lines up. So what sort of struggles have you dealt with? I mean, I know now you are sort of enjoying, as you should, like the success of seeing these placements, but it probably hasn't all been smooth sailing. Probably hasn't been all easy for you. What have been some of the bigger obstacles that you can look back on in the last year that you're like, man, that was really tough to get through?
Oh man, definitely like trying to balance the time and manage getting all these tracks done, metadata, just doing all of the tedious work of doing the work. But also like, I mean, of course, I'm at the stage now where I'm still waiting for the royalties to play out and see exactly what's happening, which is cool. Like it's great anticipation, but it's still like it's a struggle in the sense of like, oh man, when is that time going to come? So in the midst of that, you're like, okay, I don't want to be caught in a time warp where I'm not making music because I'm just waiting for that time to come. So I would say that's probably those are more of the bigger struggles in the sense of when you have things more set, like, okay, this is what I plan to do. I'm going to do this. And those struggles might come along the way. But as long as you have that set goal in mind and those set goals that you want to attack, I mean, you just have to go after them. And that's pretty much what I do. And I try to like pay attention to, actually, I like a lot of times, because I don't really watch a lot of TV. So I probably like have a phone or something streaming like basketball or NBA on TNT, any of that type of stuff, just to kind of keep that mode going. Like, because I mostly, since I'm getting a lot of NBA stuff, I mostly just kind of stay in that zone. Not to say I don't branch to pop or whatever I might want to do, but I definitely like to keep that constant. And me being a basketball person, I came up loving basketball. It was always music and basketball, so that it was just a perfect connection. So I kind of have it like engraved in me, that kind of feel. So it's kind of crazy that they seem to connect with that. And I just look at I look at the my biggest thing, because it's just funny, like the tracks that I get used, though, that they use a lot. I would say the names of the tracks and just the dynamic approach of the tracks. I think those are the biggest things that really stand out, because it's like basically defining the story. Like even if they're just talking about a couple of stats here and there and just playing for 5 seconds, it's the feel of like, okay, maybe you're trying to show like, oh, this guy has he's put up historic numbers, so you want to be kind of, I'm pretty sure that would be more like on a maybe epic, but like I would say like kind of tension type of level where it's like, okay, we're trying to give this attention to this little part right here, and we're trying to make it where it stands out more. Like, so, and I just think it's just little stuff like that. Like, cause I used to try to throw transitions every 4 bars, this and that. And I noticed like you don't have to necessarily do it that way. It's just more of keeping the movement and just trying to figure out how to make it where it's not overwhelming and not.
Yeah, man. And that's, there's nothing smarter than that, to just watch the content that you're pitching to all the time. And it's so cool that you already have like a passion for that, that you're already going to be watching no matter what, because you're going to start noticing that because you're listening. And now you're aware that it's not just about the stats and it's not just about the players or the game. It's about what you're hearing as we go to commercial break and when we come back. And like you said, and yeah, I never even really thought about that even when they are just showing like a little stat or, the history of the team or just something like that. Yeah, there's still an emotion there. Right? You don't think about it. Sometimes it's just like, just music in the background. But a lot of times, no, there's a lot of thought that gets put into exactly how that's going to be out there. Totally, man. And that's a really smart thing for everybody to start doing. So if you feel you're watching this, you're like, I want to kind of get into commercials or reality shows or whatever you think your music is great for, you should be spending some time watching those things. Not so much that you don't make music, but just spend some time and really trying to be mindful of the music so that you can kind of get your finger on the pulse of what's out there, what's the industry kind of going for right now. But I do want to touch on one thing you said there, which is I know is really tricky and tough, is the patience of like, when is the royalties going to come in? When are the fruits of my labor going to pay off? When is all the stuff that I've been working towards start to come in? And that is basically the challenge of this business. I really think that is the thing that producers, either they can get through that period or they can't. And most don't. I'll just be honest with you, man. Most people don't, because we're so used to in this world getting our paycheck every 2 weeks and getting paid pretty quickly. So the idea of waiting like a year or two to finally start seeing the income from what you've been doing, most people just don't have that mindset, that patience, that long-term vision of like, I'm doing this for more than just a paycheck next week. So you are absolutely like justified in how you feel in terms of like, yeah, it's like you're excited, but you're also anxious. Like, when is it going to come and how much is it going to be? Of course, that's the other question. Like, are these big placements, small placements, right? And you don't really know until you actually get the placement, the statement or whatever. But just so you know, that's always sort of an issue in this industry, because once you get that first royalty check, then you just immediately move on to, well, how much is my next one going to be, right? And then it's just like, at least you'll know when it's going to be, but you'll always have that, like, is it going to be more or less? And, you kind of always hope for more, but sometimes it's going to be less. So it's just one of these things that, like, once you can, for me, how I kind of got through it is, as long as I saw progress, like as I saw some, like you're seeing progress, obviously you have proof, like literally you have your TuneSet account showing you the proof, so you're seeing progress, so that gives you some confidence that you're doing something right. And obviously if those royalties are growing sort of year over year, then you can kind of be confident that you're doing what you need to be doing, right? And that's kind of where I went to, because I would get a lot of these royalty checks where it would be really disappointing, not that big, and I'd be like, man, I don't know, should I be doing this? And I just remember every single time it was always a fork in the road. It was always a choice to just kind of put that little bit of doubt that creeped in because I saw a smaller number, and just kind of put it out of my head, really, and just go, well, I'm still seeing income, I'm still seeing royalties, I'm still getting offers from my library, they still want me to be a part of this thing, and I'm seeing some sort of signs of growth, and I really believe in this, I believe in myself, I'm just going to go for it. And it's kind of a leap of faith. I mean, I'll be honest with you, it's just a leap of faith. There's really not much more you can guarantee for your future or anything like that. And that's why so many producers do not move forward in this business, because sometimes that leap of faith is just too big of a jump. It's too far when they got bills to pay now, and obviously if you have a family, right, there's other obstacles. So everybody makes their own choice, and they can make their own decision when that time comes. But I like your mentality in terms of this, Derek, that you're just putting your head down, you're just working, you're just cranking out music, you're in love. I mean, your passions are just like flowing here, right? Your music and NBA and basketball, it's like, it's all just a perfect storm kind of like crowding around you. So you're kind of in the golden zone right now. So I'm sure you don't want to like mess with that too much, and you just want to enjoy it. So, and I wish you all the best with that, man. I think it's really great what you're doing here.
I appreciate you, man. Definitely. I appreciate you for like just this whole thing, because like I said, like this direction, me having this specific direct like angle and approach, I definitely would have had it, and I would have been still on like these non-exclusive submission websites and paying this money. And to this day, I haven't seen. I probably made like maybe $10 an hour of royalties off of those type of sites, and it wasn't from like a placement. It was more so they had ended up basically selecting one of my songs for like a little album they distributed on Spotify, and we just got paid advances off of that. I don't even think they ever made that money. They just gave us advances. So, so yeah, man. Like I said, it was running to you was like really the golden treasure box, and man, just keep doing what you're doing, man. And anything I can do to help the platform continue to grow, I'm definitely willing. Like, just reach out anytime, man, and I'll continue to provide any type of encouragement and inspiration I can to the Sync Academy and everything else, man. I appreciate you.
That's awesome, bud. And you already did. You already did today, dude. Like, just sharing your story. I know that most people watching this are going to feel that source of, yes, I can do it. Derek can do it. I can do it. And that's why I want to bring you guys on when you guys have these stories, is because you guys need to see real people in this business doing things. Just like me, I'm a regular dude. Derek's regular dude, right? But we work hard. We persevere. We persevere. I've been saying that word wrong my whole life. I've been saying persevere. It's persevere. Thanks to some of you that actually corrected me on that. But yeah, it's like that's just all we do. That's all we do is we work hard, we stick to our goals, and we keep going. Now, obviously, having a community is a big part of that. And I think that's why Sync Academy has been very powerful and very useful for a lot of members. I know Derek is a very active member there. He's been with us for a long time. So I know that having sort of supportive people that get it, like they understand not just about sticking to your goals and being productive and positive, but also they understand sync licensing, because this is a very unique beast that we're trying to tame here. It's very, very unique, and it's very different from every other side of the music business. So that's what we do here in Sync Academy. So I encourage you guys, like if you're in Sync Academy, please be active. And if you have some awesome, encouraging, successful stories to share like Derek did, don't be shy. Please share those. If you feel discouraged, if you feel like, I don't know if it's going to work out for me, post about that. You put up a video, write a blog. It doesn't matter. Just talk to us about it, because the more that you're vocal, the more that you communicate and directly connect with us, the more you're going to feel better about yourself, about this business, about your future in this industry. And that's what this community is really all about. And if you're not in Sync Academy and you need a community like that, I encourage you, I invite you, just join us. It's a really cool thing. We got a lot of great, awesome members. We have so much stuff going on in there. We actually just wrapped up our latest Sync 60 challenge. So we do those from time to time, where people basically put together their own 60-day goals. And then we as a community work together to achieve our individual goals, hold ourselves accountable. There's a public accountability chart that we all follow along with. So lots of great stuff, not to mention the tutorials and all the cool stuff that's going on in there. So I encourage you to join us if you're looking for that spark of inspiration and that community to be a part of, and meet people and hang out with people like Derek. And so you can actually feel, that success. I do believe that. Like, I think there's probably been plenty of books written about that you are sort of the average of the 5 friends that you hang out with the most, right? So if you hang out with a lot of low, not so ambitious people, you're probably not going to land on the moon. You're probably going to stay wherever most of your friends are. So when you hang out with people and you communicate with people and sort of join a community like with Sync Academy, you're just elevating yourself, because you're going to be leveling up, because you're going to be surrounded by nothing but people that are encouraging, positive. It's a can-do attitude. Yes, you can do it. Yes, I can do it. That's pretty much just seeping out of the seams of Sync Academy. So it's a really good thing to just be in every single day. I can guarantee you'll have much more to show for your time on the Sync Academy platform than on Facebook and Twitter, and sometimes even on YouTube. I mean, YouTube does have some great things. I'm not going to trash talk YouTube too much. I love YouTube, but you can certainly go down some wormholes that aren't really that great for your sync licensing career on all these social media platforms. But not with Sync Academy. Sync Academy is a private social media platform that is only dedicated to helping you achieve your sync licensing goals. So with that said, thanks again, Derek, and thanks for all of you guys for watching. I really hope you enjoyed.